little more than 36 hours after the Orlando nightclub shooting, presidential candidates Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump spoke to large crowds. Clinton in Ohio, Trump in New Hampshire. And here are highlights from both of their speeches.
Inflammatory, anti-Muslim rhetoric and threatening to ban the families and friends of Muslim Americans, as well as millions of Muslim business people and tourists from entering our country, hurts the vast majority of Muslims who love freedom and hate terror.
I will suspend immigration from areas of the world where there is a proven history of terrorism against the United States, Europe, or our allies, until we fully understand how to end these threats.
Joining me right now, the Lebanon Live political analyst Charlie Harper and LaDawn Jones both are here. And in her speech, Hillary Clinton called for unity, outreach to Muslims, and the passage of gun control measures. Meanwhile, Trump vows to suspend immigration, as we heard. In the short term, this clearly will change the trajectory of this campaign. Long term, those are the questions we don't clearly understand right now. Agree or disagree with that?
I agree. You know, we can already see that a lot of Trump supporters are coming out believing that his sentiments are correct, and whereas Hillary Clinton is holding the tone of a more presidential tone to make sure that we are looking out for unity. And I think that long term, we're going to continue to see the ratcheting up of this type of division between the two candidates.
When you hear unity, that is a political buzzword right now. It's not possible given the controversy of the Second Amendment these days, given the issue of immigration to this country from some very troubled places in the Mideast. Uniformity of opinion simply is not going to be had anytime soon.
Tragic events like this, if there ever used to be something that good came out of them, it was a bit of unity in the country where we were all just Americans. Social media has killed that. You literally don't have the bodies removed from tragic crime scenes like we had in Orlando at an LGBT-friendly nightclub before people were dividing into pro-gun camps, LGBT camps, Christian rights camps, anti-Muslim camps. That, to me, is the biggest threat right now of what we have to our society, is when we have an event like this and 36 hours later, we have people trying to realize we're in a presidential election campaign. We have permanent campaign cycles, but at some point we've got to stop, take a breath, and realize all those people that we just mentioned at the end of the day are Americans. And we've got to try to figure out how we're going to get through this as Americans.
I think part of the problem is that we know that he was emboldened by some of the conversations that were coming out of these past legislative bodies. When we're talking about bathrooms and things of that sort, that emboldens
he was emboldened
like
by
that.
ISIS. He alleged to ISIS the Islamic State in Syria.
And his brothers in the Boston bombing as well, he said, part of that 911 call.
I mean, let's not blame ourselves when we have someone that's being emboldened by a foreign threat outside this country. We've got to recognize that as well. If we're going to get together as Americans, we need to remember who the enemy is. And it's not the fellow Americans that are dividing ourselves of that. It's the people that literally want to kill us and are trying to get our own people now, our own citizens, to turn against us.
That may be true, but as Americans, we also have a duty to ensure that we are not adding on to that rhetoric. We can't control what ISIS does. We have no control over what they say, but we control as Americans the type of things.
Building in Washington, D.C. or Arlington that can control what that enemy does if we would just let them loose to do it.
Charlie, LaDawn, thank you.
All right, we'll take a break. We'll be back with more after this.